Hey, welcome to, TGIF. First off, thank you for joining me on Freak Out Friday. Yeah, if it's Friday in your neck of the woods, hey, we're gonna do just a a live in the shop on a Friday, kind of capsulizing the week. I might have to duck out here for a second. That's why I want to start this a little early, due to the fact I have a customer coming to pick up a bike, and appointment-based overlapped my live stream, and I didn't realize that until I usually block it off my calendar. But in any case, someone's gonna be rolling by and picking up a bike, possibly dropping off another one, which, hey, I will warmly hug, because customers in January in the off season for a shop like me is a win-win. So in any case, I hope you guys have had a really good week. Hope you got over the tryptophan from Turkey from last week and able to hit some of the trails in your neighborhood or your neck of the woods. So yeah, Brett, hello from Olympia, Washington. Thank you for chiming in. Been Olympia, drove through there a couple times. So yeah, it's is it the rainy season there or pretty close? You guys don't get much snow, although it's cooler temperatures and rainy in any case. And I bet the bikes there are kind of, you got to be protective of the rust perspective, I bet. Cold and rainy, yeah, absolutely. My son lived with my former ex. Yeah, he lived in Sequim, Washington, which is the blue hole, supposedly, behind a rain shower. Olympic Mountains are beautiful, by the way. If you ever get up to the upper Northwest, that's a beautiful place to ride, beautiful place to hang out, and take the ferry over to Victoria and go see some Canada peeps and have a good time. And Sequim, yes, is beautiful, but I've noticed it gets windy. I lived there for like 6 months. Then, personal life went to, and here I am back in Colorado, where it's, we have the mountains but not the ocean, but I do miss the ocean. But my son really misses the ocean. He's up in Montana right now, but in any case. Yeah, so one of the bikes I was working on this week was an Allied bike, more of a custom frame design. I wouldn't say custom. I don't know if this one's actually a custom for him, but they make carbon bikes, I believe in Arkansas, but you can get custom paint jobs on it and that kind of thing. I believe it was a frame build out. In other words, you bought the frame and fork and then had the componentries installed by a bike shop, because what I've seen so far, the newer ones have SRAM componentry on it versus I'm drawing a blank. Shimano, he had Shimano Di2 Ultegra stuff. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of it and show you guys real quick. If the image would work and get to the desktop, as I just invoiced this individual, and sure enough, he's rolling in with it, or rolling to pick it up. Hopefully this is it. Yeah, it's this guy right here. He had this bike as a backup bike in Texas in the Gulf, pretty close to the Gulf. So he had some saltwater humidity issues of rusting, and that took me a good hot minute or two to work on, because I had to work on, replace the chain, got new tires on it, but like the cassette had rust on it, some of the derailleur bits had rust on it, stem bolts had rust on them and corrosion, the nipples were corroding too, so I had to do a lot of elbow cleaning of that guy and get it into spec and ready to go. Oh, I gotta see if this here yet. I can't leave the garage door open right now due to the fact that it is chilly. Oh yeah, he is here, so I'm gonna open the garage. You'll listen in. I'm not sure if he's cool with being on TV or live stream, but please hang out for a bit, and if he is, we'll go from there. Sounds great. Hey, how you doing? Oh, it's I'm not too bad, actually, considering the cold.
Yeah, sorry that it's got so cold and snowy, we won't be able to ride outdoors too much.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't mind this temperature. I don't mind 32 and above. But I don't like the ice, so I really watch for the places where the snow is melted and refrozen. That makes me nervous.
Yeah. I wait till
really
the sun comes out and kind of bakes it and makes it a little more safe to ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. This guy here, I try to do my best to try to get most of the rust off.
Appreciate that.
The cassette had some, got that off of there. The pedals too. The chainring bolts had, even though they're alloy, they oxidized.
Yeah.
So I threw them in vinegar, an ultrasonic cleaner that cleaned off the oxidation, but also stripped the paint. So I repainted them,
Got it.
as well as the stem bolts here. Because I know that's kind of like an eyesore thing if you're seeing that. So I did the same process on that guy
Thank you
there.
very much. Yeah, that's great.
The brake pads are good, so you still have good life there. Clean off the rust off the rotors. Also, the spoke nipples, they had a little bit of corrosion, as you saw. I took care of that as much as I could. The finish, may have taken the black finish on the nipples, probably wore off a little bit. But I got everything recoated with either from lithium, the ceramic coating for the frame. I coated that like 3 times, stacked it up. And on the componentry, I used their same product called Seal and Squeal, which has that ISO 202 property in it as well. So hopefully that'll help cut it down, especially when you take it down to your second home and coming back, hopefully. The chain had rust on it, so I just went ahead and redid that. And the tires, they were drying out, getting a little bit of cracking, even though the front one looked kind of good. I was like, well, man, I just get a rear one to match it. Couldn't find that model.
That's fine.
So I went with the Continental Gator Skins, which have that flat prevention into it. And the black edition kind of looks slick. So it's kind of a visual and a performance-based kind of thing on that. And you know about wax chains, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you did that on my
That's right.
on my moots.
On the moots? Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, you can drop off that moots whenever you're ready on that. I did the Connex 11-speed chain, but the stainless steel, that's the top line. So it's supposed to last a little bit longer, endurance, and perform a little bit better. But it will take about, I would say, 5-10 miles worth of shed. I tried to test ride it, but I was only on the sidewalk. It's like, it shifts and stops, so it couldn't really, crank on it to kind of help shed it. But other than that, headset, bottom bracket good, frame looks good. Yeah, it's a nice bike. Did you, haven't worked on a lot of Allied bikes before.
Yeah.
Did you buy just a frame and fork and had it built up, or was it stock?
It was a demo bike directly from Allied.
Oh, okay.
I think I bought it in 2018. I couldn't say exactly sure. 18 or 19, I bought this. I had been watching their bikes for a while and was interested in them. And then one day they sent out an email and said, we've got like 6 demo bikes we'd like to blow out at a special price this year. Let us know if you're interested. And they just so happened to have the exact bike I'd been looking at, the frame size, everything. And so I bought the complete bike from them.
Okay, nice.
Except I changed out the crank set to put the cork on it and the Praxis chain rings. But otherwise, I think it came... No, I had the wheels built too.
Okay.
It came with, I can't remember, but some just decent wheels, but they were like 22 or 24 spoke wheels.
Gotcha.
And, at my weight, I don't ride light wheels like that. So I
Fair
had
enough.
my wheel builder build these wheels. So
Nice.
mostly it's as stock as it was, except for the wheels and the crankset.
Did you have those done at Sugar Wheels?
Yes.
In, is that
Yeah,
Portland?
in Oregon, Portland. Yeah.
Nice, awesome. Yeah, I noticed that on the Pinarello. You have, I haven't gotten to that yet, but I'm going to, probably next week or so.
Rush. I just wanted to make sure I got back to you because I'm leaving the country a week from today, actually.
Oh, okay.
And I'll be gone for 3 weeks. And
Gotcha.
so I didn't want you to finish one of my bikes and then be sitting on it for a long time and be in your way.
Oh,
so
fair enough.
I wanted to get this one out of your way. When I get back, I'll bring you the moots, and then whenever you're ready to do something with the Pinarello, just let me know.
Okay.
But no, this has been a great bike. This was a sort of a secondary bike for me for a while, and now I've moved on to the titanium mostly, and then I've got a new titanium bike on the way. So
Yeah, number 22. Yeah, I looked that up. I saw a podcast on one of the European channels I watch, and they talked about the 22, and I'm like, oh, okay. So is it built in England? Is that right?
No,
or?
it's built in New York. They're
They're
in
in the
upstate
States.
New York.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't really.
New York. A couple of guys that were from Serrata originally
Oh,
formed their own bike building company. And,
nice.
they do nothing. I think they do nothing but titanium.
Okay. Hence the name 22 is the element number on the
Exactly
periodic
right.
table.
Not
Yeah.
many people knew that. I didn't know that. I had to go look it up.
Yeah.
And I have a buddy who bought one in about 2017 or 18, and we went on a 2-day bike ride together, and it was a really nice bike. And I was lusting after a titanium bike back then, but I ended up going with Moots. And then I always thought next time I do it, I'm going to check number 22. And I just really like their approach. And they built me a custom geometry frame. First of all, I went and had a bike fit done, a retool fit done down in Longmont, and
Yeah.
then we took those measurements and sent them to them, and they modified the frame to be my specific geometry, which I've never done before.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And then they built it with everything I want on it, exactly as I chose. And then they're going to do the paint job on it's going to be a blend of Cerakote and anodizing, and it's going to have like a two-tone blue, ice blue finish to it, plus some natural titanium.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so this is, honestly, I say this a lot, my wife gets tired of me saying this, but this is probably my last bike, honestly, that I'll buy. You know, I'm getting to that age where I'm tired of accumulating things, and I'm starting to trying to shed things.
Fair enough.
And I've
Yeah.
always been somebody who, you know, could afford to sort of have the best and the greatest, but I'm getting to the point where I can still afford it, but I still want to maintain it. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, one time I owned 13 bicycles.
Oh, wow.
You know, and I'm down to 5 now, I guess. And
Okay.
I really want to be down to probably 2.
Gotcha.
It's just becoming too much effort for me to manage all the stuff I have, and
Well, yeah.
I'm really anal about my maintenance, and so to own it, to maintain it properly, to insure it, you know, or whatever's involved,
Yeah.
it's just becoming too much brain damage for me.
Yeah.
I'm 59 and I'm mostly retired, and so yeah, I just don't want to. I don't want to have as much to worry about anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to downsize and simplify a little bit. That's going to include bicycles, firearms,
Everything in between. Yeah.
you know, just stuff.
Yeah, and that's where I saw like on the Made show, one of the influencers interviewed some of the like craftsman hand-built frames that are, you know, that's where all those guys show off their stuff. And that was kind of a theme recently, and it's, I think, becoming more of a trend. It's kind of like your forever geometry kind of a bike. And it's like, then you can just change it as you grow, like the stems or seat posts or what have you. And that's kind of like, that's a great, sustainable, long-term bike. And I have a couple bikes I jump on, I'll never sell.
Yeah.
I have a Pop Rod Le Mans cyclocross. I fit on it. It's like a glove. It's just like I go and have a great time. But yeah, and that's, you know, downsizing. A lot of people. Well, be careful. You'll get into the e-bike too here.
Yeah, that may be, if I ever do anything, it may be an e-bike.
Yeah.
You're right, because that is becoming more of a thing among my group, and but I'm still kind of in that mode where I don't want to admit to myself that I can't ride regular.
Oh yeah, I'm still on the e-power.
So.
But there'll be a time that'll be like, if you're riding with some hot shots and you just want to keep up and have a good time.
Because I ride with the Fort Collins Cycling Club a lot, and they have an A, B, C, and D group. The D group's really sort of like bike path, just cruiser type stuff.
Sure.
But I alternate between the B and the C ride depending on the distance that day and the route and stuff. But I struggle to hang with the B group all day. I do fine with the C group, but I'd like to get where I'm an A, B guy, where I can hang with the B group regularly and then stretch to the A group occasionally.
Yeah.
But I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, thank you
Awesome.
very much. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Did you want your old stuff?
I don't.
Okay,
If you're
I'll-
just disposing of that.
Yeah, I'll
properly,
recycle the tires and
That'd be
take
great.
care of the recycle the chains
all right,
bits
I
too.
appreciate it.
Oh no, it's a nice ride. Definitely
Yeah,
a nice
I
ride.
really like it. So.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right, well, have a
enjoy.
nice holiday, man.
Oh, you too. Enjoy your trip.
Yeah.
Where are you going again?
We're going to Australia.
Oh,
Our
man.
younger daughter is graduating from grad school in Melbourne,
Okay.
December 22nd, I think.
Nice.
21st, 22nd.
Nice.
And she went to undergrad in Singapore, and we couldn't go because it was during the pandemic. And
Oh.
Singapore was closed. She couldn't leave. We couldn't get in.
Yeah.
She graduated in May of 20 from her undergrad. We missed it, so we told her wherever she was when she got her graduate degree, we would come and see her graduate. So we're going over there for
Oh,
2.5
nice.
weeks. So yeah, it's going to be nice.
Yeah, well, get some riding in too if you can.
You know, I might. I haven't looked into renting a bike over there, but I might look into it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
hadn't
just-
thought about that.
It's a great way to explore different
Yeah,
places too and
it
get to
is.
see the cities.
Yeah, I might look into it and see if I can rent a bike while I'm there, at least for one day and
Yeah.
go for a ride. That would be fun.
Yeah,
I've
absolutely.
never been to Australia, so it'll be a new experience for me. My wife's been once, and I have not been.
Yeah. That's one of my bucket list places to go. Just like that, New Zealand too.
Yeah, we tried to fit New Zealand into this trip, but it was just too much with the airplane logistics.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a separate New Zealand trip probably later on.
Nice.
Or maybe we'll do another combination. Our daughter says she's never coming back. They love it. She says, I'm staying in Australia the rest of my life.
Well, that gives you a good excuse to.
So,
I'm gonna have to go visit you for the
I'll
holidays.
go a few times.
Yeah.
I'll see how I like the plane ride. I'm not looking forward to the 20-hour plane ride or whatever it is.
Yeah.
We're going from here to LA, and then we catch a flight in LA direct to Melbourne.
Oh, okay.
So it is direct at least, but
Yeah.
I still think it's like 20. I think just the Melbourne leg is like 20 hours.
It's a jaunt.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I've flown to China numerous times and South America numerous times. I think China was like 15 hours, if I remember correctly, 14, 15 hours. Brazil was like 10 from Texas when I was in Texas then.
Yeah.
So I've not done a 20-hour plane ride. So we'll see.
Yeah, get some good books.
Yeah. Take my laptop.
Exactly.
All right, man. Well, have a good
Well,
holiday.
thank you.
Take
Yeah,
care,
thank you so
and I'll
much.
see you in January.
All righty. Enjoy your trip.
Thanks.
Chili. Yeah, boy. Oh, sorry about the absence on the screen here, but as you can probably overhear the conversation. Yeah, it's a really good customer of mine. He has obviously several bikes, and yeah, when the customer says, I need to pick up my bike, you basically drop whatever you're doing to take care of them and everything else in between. Yeah, yeah. Let me read into your comments here, and you guys chimed in. That's awesome. Whew, yeah, leaving that door open is a little chilly. Yeah, I think our high today was in the 30s Fahrenheit, so a little above freezing, kind of. You can definitely feel the warm air, warmish air. It was like about 42 in here, and totally escaped. Let's see here. Yeah, sorry about everybody. I did have a customer that did stop by, and if you probably heard, I had a hot mic, so hopefully he was okay with that. But yeah, he has a couple different. I wanted to ask him a couple questions about his bikes, especially the one he had me do the tune-up on, which was Allied, and that's probably one of the first ones I've actually come across. They're not a big company in the States. They are built in Arkansas. I read up on a little bit on the company, fairly newer company, but kind of cool stuff. And yeah, thanks for chiming in, Heavy Metal Cycles. Thank you. Yeah, customers make the world go around and keeps us busy. Exactly. Yeah, 13 bucks, I was surprised, but that is not a shocker in a sense because I have a couple customers that have a fleet, especially if they have kids and family members and multiple homes. They just end up acquiring a fleet of them, and especially if they're diving into the used market, they can find more to purchase. Especially now, the prices have dropped significantly, quite a bit here. John, thank you for chiming in. Greetings again from Minnesota. Hopefully it's getting a little bit nicer there for you. I mean, we've seen the sun a little bit today. It was sunnier yesterday. It was a lot nicer. Right now, it's the winter gray is kicking in. So I'm trying to bring in a little bit of bright sunshine for all those who are experiencing the doom and gloom of winter. Yeah, that Ally bike turned out really nice. I couldn't get all the rust off. It was insane because on the front derailleur, on the back side, that's kind of a weak point. I wouldn't say weak covering for the derailleur from Shimano. And it had like the starring of the rust in the back there. So I tried to scrape it. And plus it's a hard to get to kind of thing. And it's a Di2. So you don't want to throw those in ultrasonic cleaner. I mean... That's the last thing you want to do. So those are always like a hand cleaning, light and polite, spray the chemicals on the rag, then apply situation. Because yeah, you definitely don't want to damage one of those burgers because that's a very costly fail point as a mechanic or as a consumer rider for sure. But I got the rust off the rotors pretty easily. This oxidation off of the crank iron bolts and the stem bolts. They were alloy, but they had oxidation. Cleaned it with, put those bolts in a jar with vinegar and threw it in an ultrasonic cleaner. It stripped the oxidation, but also stripped the black coating. So I used it's DuPont spray, I think it's DuPont, Farmer Impelment, which is a kind of a spray that you'd use on a farm to clean parts and so, like to protect parts and so forth. You're not really caring about beauty, but it does leave a nice hard shell. So that's what I found by spraying some of those parts black, and it really seems to work really well for that. So I did that an extra mile. I replaced the chain, put on a waxed Connex chain for them. Super happy about all that. So yeah, he did have an appointment. I forgot to polite Chihuahua. Thank you for chiming in. Joy, yes, he did have an appointment. I forgot to block off the availability for the live stream, and this was like 1 hour. I sent him an invoice, and this was 1 hour before coming on live, and I was like, "Oh, whoops, damn. Well, he's coming, and we're doing live, so we're all just gonna have to buck up and work through it." And that's, a bike mechanic doing live. Hey, if you want a little insight of what really bike mechanic life is, that is it in a nutshell. It's like on any hot minute, sometimes you're going in a different direction for sure. Heavy motorcycles be like the Mr. Bike Farmer and hide from the customers. Yeah. I don't really have to hide from my customers. That's where the appointment-based system's for. that weeds out like the drop on by, except although I do have some neighbors that will just pop in whenever they see the garage door open. They're like, "Hey," like it's fine. They're neighbors. That's one thing, that kind of deal. But anyway, but yeah, everything's pretty much appointment-based. Oh, Anthony, thank you for joining in. Appreciate it. What's your opinion on Concord MV bike from Walmart? A lot of the bike brands that Walmart and Target sell, they're mass market manufacturers. Kit International, is it Wheels something, which is the Huffy parent company, including Pond Holdings, Pond Bike, which makes Mongoose and Schwinn. And so you got them, and they're a numbers game. They're just volume. Well, the only probably Achilles heel, which is Achilles heel, and it always has been for Walmart and Target and what have you, is they don't have pro mechanics building the bikes from scratch, and they do need a lot of adjustment. I mean, as much as they would try to sugarcoat it or Kool-Aid the process from those companies to Walmart and Target, there's still a fair amount of technical skill to make sure those bikes are safe to ride. And that's what it comes down to. And that includes bikes from regular bike shops as well. So not having that lacking disconnect of having fine-tuned, you can get those and build them up to be pretty decent and hold up pretty well for the price that you're paying. So it is definitely, the price that you're getting kind of deal. Which I say that it's like, could they do better? Could they source the parts better? Probably, but the prices would dictate a higher price. And that's where you look at that consumer base, which is about 80% of the market of cycling in the States, because that's where a lot of people get bikes for themselves or their kids and what have you. So it's a huge percentage of the market. And where it's more boutique-y, like Trek and Specialized and Giant, are going after that other 8 to 10% of bikes that are being sold in the United States. That's unit-wise, not actually dollar amounts. But you can look at Bicycle Retailer in Industry News Brain, and they'll have, in the paper copy will have actual charts of how many units and so forth will actually be sold or shipped to various countries, and like the China-based ones is a good chunk of those bikes are being made there, going into the United States. So they could be good. I would have a pro mechanic or a mechanic that's acceptable. Some mechanics are really kind of don't want to touch those. So you'll have to vet your individual that wants to work on those bikes to make sure it's safe. Basically, that's the end of the day. It's safe to ride. And it's kind of like one of those things. You can't fight up against it, although so long time, like, no, don't buy those bikes from them. You just can't alienate that customer or that community that still needs those bikes at that price point. I would venture to probably shoot for the used market, find something that's maybe a couple years older and have that tuned up, maybe a little bit more money, but you'd have a better bike at the end of the day. That's an option too, if you have the inventory available for used bikes in your neck of the woods, for sure. Trav W, thank you for joining in. Oh, is it true that e-bike batteries don't last as long in the cold weather in Michigan? Well, cold weather affects all batteries. So we have 2 EV vehicles. So yes, our range is shorter. Does it really prevent us from going further or what have you? Not necessarily. That kind of thing. And yeah, they do kind of shrink, but it's not like you're losing 2/3 of your battery life. On the e-bikes, I believe it would be on the brand, how they're built, quality, that kind of thing, would determine, if it really shrinks the battery life down. So for example, if you're riding 20 miles to work and you're only using half of your battery to get there, and then you can charge there and run the half of it back, just keep it simple. KIS, keep it simple, stupid. Because maybe as a math is whatever. Yeah, you may lose probably about 20 to 30%, but don't quote me on that. I would Google that up and see what the actual percentage, and also depends on the battery design and quality too. That would be a really good question for either Aaron at Go Grava in Pennsylvania, because I do a whole bunch of e-bike stuff, or Precision e-bike here locally in Fort Collins, Colorado. That'd be a good question. Actually, I probably should reach out to those individuals and maybe do especially with this battery issue with Rad Sports. There's like 2 models that are catching on fire, and that's a huge risk and a problem. And they're basically on their way out to go under. Therefore, they're not doing a recall because they can't support the funding of the recall. Basically, they're telling you just to take that battery and properly dispose it, and maybe give you a discount on replacement. But that's kind of what happens to the flood. And unfortunately, a lot of those individuals that buy those particular bikes are a little bit less expensive-ish. I know they're still fairly expensive in some perspectives, but I think we're seeing, I wouldn't say a downturn, but we're definitely seeing a leveling out of the e-bike industry. And, I don't really suggest anybody buying a used e-bike unless it's been, I'm drooling myself, I must have a hole in my lip. Or I'm so cold, my lips are quivering. In any case, unless it's approved or been inspected by a certified company that tests the battery, tests the motor, make sure it's safe to ride. Because you don't know that really. And the most expensive portion on an e-bike is the battery. So if you buy a used one and the battery is pretty much depleted, then you have to buy a new battery. That can get pretty expensive. So keep that in mind. Yeah, of course, I'm more than happy to reply. But yeah, there's going to be some shortness on colder weather, and if you're commuting and using that for that, for sure. And places like New York, where I saw an article, I'm not sure where exactly, that New York latest study or tally count of people riding bikes in New York bike path system is now 2/3 e-bikes. So that's a pretty significant push towards the e-bike usage, and then that's definitely a good representation of a lot of metropolitan cities across the United States and globally, because it gives you that ability where your physical ability may only be able to ride 5-10 miles, but you get too tired, what have you. The e-bike helps you get to that 20 to 25 mile marker, and that gets you to work, which be able to eliminate a vehicle or not, drive in traffic or any of that kinds of stuff and relieve that. Therefore, bike paths are becoming a lot more congested, where if this continues to go as a trend, big city is going to have to rely more on infrastructure, on supporting that volume of traffic being transferred from or lessened off of highways and streets to on bike paths and so forth. So that's going to be an interesting twist in the next 5 to 10 years. As we sit and how we're kind of in the States trying to deal with what we're dealing with, to say it politely, infrastructure and emphasis on all that is probably going to be put on the back burner for the next 3.5 years. And you can probably figure out why. But if we look at the European market and how their cities, like Amsterdam and any of the major cities, and how they're adjusting because they're huge in cycling. Cycling's always been there. So they're the ones that shown the guiding light of e-bikes. I mean, that's where Specialized went over there and this is it, that kind of thing, which driven a lot of those first brands bringing in e-bikes. And granted, it wasn't all these, lower end, no-name bike companies at the time. It was like Shimano made a motor and a battery, and a Bosch was there, and they were, had very good success in the European market, and we're just following the European market, and it exploded here, which is great. And looking at places like DC and Denver, even where I'm close to, or anywhere where congestion and traffic is just a mess at times, you get a little bit of exercise, you get there, without being in traffic, and you cut down, the brown cloud, as we call it here in Denver, because Denver's in a bowl. So in the wintertime, all those toxin, fumes get stuck, and it's pretty nasty. And in the 80s, it was horrible. You can see, you can cut it with a knife. Equivalent to back in the 80s and the 90s, if you ran 5 miles in Denver metro area during a high pollutant day, it was equivalent to smoking a pack of cigarettes. That's how many toxins were in there. So to any kind of reduction of that and giving better health and also mental health, I mean, come on. I mean, if anybody, you probably watching this, you probably ride a bicycle, and anytime you go out or go for a ride, get your lost in thoughts, whatever, and come back, you're physically more refreshed, you're mentally, recharged to some level, and it's great. So I mean, I can't, but there's some things that need some education and some infrastructure to support this. So let's go for it. 2026, let's build more bike paths. Locally here, they've actually are finishing up some trails that added even more mileage. You can probably almost do a double century and not be on the same bike path twice going the same direction. So there's one from like Greeley to Bellevue, or close to Bellevue, which is north of Fort Collins, which is 50 miles once it's completed, the Poudre Trail, 50 miles one way. So you can go back and forth, and there you go. You got a century just right there. Not including all the loops that you can do between around Fort Collins and Loveland and so forth. And they're continuing to add to those for sure. Any case. But yeah, thank you for joining in. Thank you for chiming. Yeah, probably won't be in the garage too much today. I do have other meetings I'm going to have to jump on later on. Working on partnerships. One of the partnerships I've been working with is Bicycle Wheel Warehouse. They're a bike company, bicycle wheel company. I do hand-built wheels. I'm working on a video with a Klein that I'm full suspension Klein, and they build up a set of 26-inch wheels for me, which is really cool. So I'm going to be featuring that, And I ordered the tires today and the grips, so probably won't get the video out until a couple weeks. But so that's one of my side projects. Right behind me is a Pinarello. This is that gentleman that he dropped off. He's going to be selling this guy as a Pinarello Di2 Ultegra, which I have to do the whole magic tune-up on kind of thing. So I do sell some bikes on kind of consignment for really good customers, neighbors' bikes, kind of like that kind of thing. I don't make that as a business model. It's kind of, I do a lot of service and they're like, hey, can you sell this for me? I'm like, sure. Kind of, it's not like I advertise it or really pursue that. It's kind of just a byproduct of what I do. And to support them, you know, make them a little bit of money off their bike. It basically comes back to me. So it's a win-win for working on all their other stuff. So yeah, that's kind of a fun thing, and you get to work on things that you typically wouldn't be working on. But yeah, I mean, Pinarello, a newer one, not one of those old ones that have been in somebody's garage or back ditch or the farm for the last 20, 30 years, but this is more of a newer one. As well as I have a couple mountain bikes and going to be working on 2 newer. Usually try not to do the mountain bikes as much due to the fact that the suspension is a whole mystery portion, not to me per se, but it's one of those situations in how the market has been evolving for the last 20 years is I can do it, but I don't like doing it, and I'm not tooled up to do it, suspension work. Therefore, you send those suspensions to a place that's all they do. Dirt Labs in Longmont is one of those companies that's all they do is suspension. So, if I'm going to do that, if you're going to sell a used mountain bike full suspension, you should have the suspension worked on before you sell it, so you can confidently tell the new buyer like it's been done and tuned, because pretty much every bike out there, people are like, whatever. And again, it falls almost in that line of where e-bikes and full suspension bikes need to be sold by a shop that goes through all of those things, so you're not stuck with hidden costs when you're purchasing. Kind of like the Pros Closet kind of provides that service. A few other shops that do used bikes, that kind of thing. Then you have some kind of a warranty and guarantee. Unless it's like a super deal and you're like willing to take the risk of like, oh, well, the shock's bad. I got it so cheap, I don't mind spending another $500 to $1,000 on a fork, that kind of thing. So that's something to think about. Johnny Bike Guy, SLC, Salt Lake City. Thank you for joining in. Yeah, suspension. Oh, nice. Synchrogate. That must be that's suspension Synchrogate. They're like a Dirt Labs in your neck of the woods. I think Trek try to do their own little Dirt Labs for their own shops, but the shop here still takes their stuff to either Dirt Labs or to QBP or somebody here in Denver that does them as a big box. It's a little bit faster. Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah, Dirt Labs used to be a bike shop, and they did suspension, and all of a sudden they're like, well, that's all we're going to do. So it's kind of how they were evolved and built into. Yeah. Oh, Mark, thank you for joining. Yeah, good late morning to you, too. Yeah, it's later morning here. Oh, you're up in Wisconsin. Nice. Jima, nice. It's watching the Bike Farmer earlier. It's definitely cold in your neck of the woods. Yeah, the Midwest cold. That's a whole new level of cold and snow. Yeah, we got some snow this week too, which prevented me from doing a lot of test riding, but which it took a little bit longer to get this Allied bike out the door because I finished it then late on Tuesday and it snowed. I'm like, well, I have a golden rule of I always test ride something before I put it in the hands of the owner, just to make darn sure that it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so talking about that, if I was going to do, I'm kind of, it goes back to my dad, like back on Parker Bikes days. If you're going to do it, you got to do it right and do it with a sense of style. It was all about style. So, the suspension work, on this Klein, yeah, it's older. I'll probably check it out if it needs any work on it. It's pretty simple to work on those. But when you're looking at the newer ones, I mean, that's a 25-year-old bike. So on the newer ones, it gets really complicated in specialty tooling. So it kind of gets stuck in that kind of realm. But in any case, same thing. E-bikes, they'll have their own shops. Suspension, they have their own shops. And then you have like general maintenance. It's kind of, well, I'm more, I don't know what you call me. I'm an enigma. Gum on somebody's bottom of a shoe. Kind of a pain in the ass in the cycling world. That kind of thing. Also joined the National Bike Dealer Association and give them hell. So I'm going to be a thorn in their butt for the next year because that's what I paid for. Yeah, you know, I'm going to be locked in a room with traditional bike shop owners. So this is going to be interesting. Going into the Cabinet West in Las Vegas. I'm going to be there for 2 days, very vocalizing my opinion of things need to change. So and let me show you the way. Or at least successful for me, and they can figure out how it works for them. But in any case, yeah, it's been an interesting week on that perspective. Signed up for that. Mainly also to get a little more insights of the industry and help translate that to those who have smaller shops or those who are in the cycling, you know, communities, and how to, you know, understand what's going on, because a lot of us are still a lot in the dark trying to figure it out. And there's some really smart individuals that are part of National NDBA, and it's good to be in that. It's good to be in that room. Basically, I've always been an advocate of, if I'm the smartest one in the room, I need to go change my room. That's just like, you need to be somewhere where your thought, not provoked, but thought, you know, thinking forward, you know, very meaningful conversations, you know, those kinds of things where you're up your game. You know, you think about things, you open up up the doors, and you contribute to the conversations, obviously, to the you're in. You're not just sitting there like a fly on a wall, but it helps you become better at what you do and what you provide for your cycling community. And one of the big, very smart cats, and he's known within the cycling circles, is Noel at Wheel and Sprocket. And I worked with him. He had the product called Retail Toolkit back in the day when I worked for him. And every time I had a conversation with him, it was just mind blowing. Like, oh, whoa, like, I don't know diddly squat what I'm doing, but you know, therefore it really pushes you. And when you're working on bikes, or you have a little shop and all that kind of thing, there's always, I was thinking about it the other day, it's like, there's so much to the cycling industry now. I mean, back in this, you know, when I talked to John Bradley in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, it's like, you can get your head around it. Like, one individual can get around the whole cycling experience-ish for the most part. But after that, it's gotten so crazy in so different directions and so detailed and so, I mean, it's cool, but scary as hell at the same time, because every time I show up into a high-level event like that, I feel dumb. And I've been doing this for 35 years. I'm like, how do I still feel dumb? You know, but the thing is, though, you got to accept that there's so much to it, that everybody has their own perspective. Everybody has their own experiences. And sometimes you're challenged more than others to have more insights. And some do more repetitive things, so it's more of the same, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you know, you're always challenged, and you feel more enlightened. And the cycling community has changed for the bike shop levels from being very competitive to more of a community in itself. Because we've got to protect ourselves, because it's a hard industry. And we don't want people to see them go out of business. That just makes it harder on the rest of us. So for the most part, I mean, there's some outliers, of course. But in general, though, you want to be supportive. And when you go to these events, it's like, hey, how you doing? Versus like, oh, that son of a bitch sold like 3 bike sales for me, that kind of thing. Because it's so damn vast now that I could have an e-bike store right across the street. I could have a mountain bike store be my neighbor, and it'd be fine. I mean, we would all have the same volume of business, and if anything, it would actually generate more business because we would rely more on each other, being forward thought, or think, you'd be mindful or be, thought of like, oh, you go talk to John over here about mountain bikes, and talk to Aaron over here about e-bike stuff. That's where kind of the YouTube thing is kind of nice, because even though they are not literally across the street from me, but they are literally across the street in the virtual way of support. That's a funny thing to think about. Think about this. You got Josh at Precision E-Bike. He's close to me. I can actually see him, go see him in person without too much trouble. And we can collaborate and work together on our communities and joint communities and so forth. Even if like Aaron from Go Grava is like thousands of miles away from me, we can still connect and be a part of this journey and help the cycling community in our neck of the woods and both our neck of the woods, that kind of thing. Or Bill at Vital Bike Chains down in Florida, which I just had a meeting with him yesterday, and we made up a little video, which we're going to be editing and hopefully produce here soon. And he's, I'm giving brand awareness to his stuff, that what he's doing, but then again, it's kicked back to the same direction. So we're working on the community base of it, and we're helping each other. And yeah, I might steal a bike, steal chain cell from him, or vice versa. But it really, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, because we're still trying to keep ourselves enough business and so forth between all of us, and try to elevate it. So regardless of whether the shrinkage is, it's more of a gain. Does that make any sense? I don't know. For those in the industry, probably does. Those who are like listening that just rides bikes are like, what the hell is this guy talking about? But these are the things that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis in the shop. Yeah, as we're tuning up bikes or selling bikes or bringing in inventory to resell, we're looking at all these different perspectives. And it's nuts. It's nuts, and cycling industry has become so huge, and I do not dare dive into a completely whole other niche unless I'm going to go in 100%, because somebody down the street is already 100% into it, and I want to make sure, going back to what my dad says, if you're going to do it right, and have a sense of style with it. Make it stylish, that kind of thing. So I do a little more retro stuff. I do, refurbishing bikes. I do work on newer stuff too, and I get excited about that. But for the most part, I'm like, the high-level tune-up detailing kind of guy, that kind of deal. Do I do full suspension on my bikes? Sure, but the suspension work's going to be done by somebody else. Can I do the e-bike stuff? Sure, which I have, but the e-bike motors and batteries are going to go to somebody else as well. So therefore, you might find your shops in your neck of the woods kind of conforming to this model, and you might get a little miffed because they're not going to be able to do everything. But you can't put it up against them, because they just can't do everything. It's just almost impossible. And some shops, they do, but they're either huge and have a massive staff, and you're going to be paying a premium price for that too. Or you're going to have shops that are like cookie cutter corporate stores. They say they do everything, and they kind of do, but not do it well-ish to some level. There's a whole different layers of that can be problematic. Mainly it's because of volume. But anyway, I want to wrap up the last 10, 15 minutes here on the biggest topic in the room in December for most bike shops and corporate and cyclists. So we'll dive into that. Oh, geez, Vital Bike Chains. I should probably play your little promo while you're here. So, Bill at Vital Bike Chains. He's the guy. He knows a lot about the whole waxing chain thing.
A very popular chain process or waxing of Vital Bike Chains provides brand names like Shimano, SRAM, and various others to be cleaned in a high detailed 5-step process and then waxed to your professional level with either speed chip or endurance chip, which has been proven to have better performance and better lasting events and recreational riding. Find Vital Bike Chains has a variety of different, takes care of the messy process, and all you have is the clean wax chain ready to perform. Check them out. Discount code with a link below.
Yeah, sorry, Bill. I haven't really made a clean that one up yet. I'll be making a nice little promo, better promo for them. But my wife got me this. I'll display it on my Shop Talk Tuesday. Haven't opened the box yet. It's a little bike shop display, Christmas bike shop. New used bike shop, little. I mean, I kind of wish I had the little building myself. Kind of cool, like your old town, downtown, kind of, old shop building kind of thing. Anyway. But no, that's not what I was wanting to talk about. Yeah, I should do, let's just do this. $2026. What is your bike shop gonna do to survive 2026? And I do really emphasize survive. It's really kind of not new, not too much of a shocker. It's going to be more of the same what we found that worked in 2025, because I don't think much is going to change in a sense. There's not going to be a new shiny thing that comes down the line that's going to make everybody want it, like the Razor scooters back in the day. Or I don't think there's going to be a Lance Armstrong that's going to get us all excited about road bike riding again. And that's not going to happen. Inventory is going to be spotty at best, if not more expensive. And yes, because of our scenario here in the States, it's not, the prices have gone up. What they do have a lot of, they're discounting heavily now to help with cash flow, but coming in springtime, I don't think you're going to see very many bikes on sale or parts. Because it's going to be just really, a lot of these companies they've already been narrowing down their inventory. And because of the supply issues of getting inventory in the United States and the question of what's going to be hit with the tariffs and what have you, it's not good. So corporate, like the big brands that sell all the parts and the frames and the bikes are going to be less in these states, and probably globally a little bit, because the global market is softened as well. Watching Zero Friction this morning about his last year and how much he's down, and he's going to have to let go his part-timer going into January, which is sad. And that's in a different country completely, in Australia. So I think we're all feeling it. The successes, though, what we're going to have is a lot more service, because people are going to want to have their bikes worked on going into the summer, either for commuting or general recreational riding or health. They're not going to be buying new as much. And I think the used market is going to bloom, because I was watching the podcast on MBDA recently about November. One of the bullet points that triggered my ear was like 8% of the bike shops right now are only leveraging used bikes and parts. That's a huge market opening up for a lot of these other shops to leverage that area. It's a huge opportunity because for us here in the States, we've been a consuming society for a very long time. In the last 20 years, we've been stacking up on our used bikes, and we have a huge inventory to tap into. All I have to do is open up my Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, and bam, I have thousands of bikes to choose from. And a lot of them are dropping in price because they're just, it's wintertime here. But the demand is so high, and the people buying new is so low, or buying used is so low, that a bike shop can leverage that. And you're like, well, how's a shop, if nobody's buying a used bike, what do you think you're going to be able to sell a used bike better? Well, number one, you have people going to the shop looking for bikes, so you still have that client base that still comes in. So you do have that. Secondly, you don't have to sell the complete bike. You can strip the thing down. Case in point, I had one bike in here, I forget which one it was. I sold the frame and the wheels and the shifters and the cranks and all the parts separately. I made 2/3 more than my initial investment on the bike. So going back to MBDA's and numbers that they've come across, that you're finding a lot of bike shops that the 8% that are leveraging used are gaining their margins from new bikes, which is 20 to 30 if you're lucky, to used bikes to 50 to 60% markup margins. So that really helps cut a little bit to keep your service staff in place so you don't have to lay off everybody. And then that helps the business have enough money to pay the bills and keep the lights on until we get through this completely roller coaster, and hopefully it'll be okay, and have some learnings along the way of like, oh, maybe that's something that we can keep building on and add to it. And the thing is you're not going to flood the market. eBay's been flooding the market for decades now, and it's not flooded. I mean, still people are buying and what have you. So there's still the customers there, and still the sellers there. You add more sellers, you add more products, and people might get more excited about it. For example, I might sell a frame, but somebody else may be selling the wheels that they want, or componentry group, or whatever. So there's a huge win-win here within that community. So looking at 2026, service is going to be gangbusters, but it's not going to hit until the springtime for us here. So we have to hold on to our bootstraps. A lot of shops have already discounted their tune-ups, corporate stores as well. Saw Trek discounting like $50 off their tune-up packages locally, but that may transpire to nationally because they just need any kind of income to come in. And local shops as well. I've seen feeds like, oh, discount tune-ups and so forth. So take advantage of it. If you're an avid cyclist, take advantage of that tune-up and that discount. You know, I know it's maybe snowing in your neck of the woods, but drag that bike down, get it tuned up, because I had one of you guys out there comment like, hey, what do we do about getting our bikes ready for next season, or basically storing them? And I'm like, get it tuned up, then put it away. And all you have to do is air up the tires and go. When you have that first random nice day and you want to jump and take advantage of it, versus, oh crap, I need to get my bike tuned up still. And you miss out on that first couple days. That could make or break your riding for your season. I mean, you getting into cycling and staying into cycling. So that's my best recommendation. Take advantage of the discount, get that bike ready, then you can set it in the garage if you can't ride it, and it's all ready to go. Like this gentleman picked up his bike earlier to the show. That's a great opportunity. Secondly, most importantly, the bike shops are not super overwhelmed and busy, so that mechanic is going to take a little more time on your bike, be a little more attentive to detail. And you're going to have the better mechanics working on your bikes because they're the ones that are left for the whole year. They're the season, not seasonal, but they're the full enchilada. They've been around for a long time, and this is what they like doing. And you get something cool in front of them, they're going to take their time to work on it because they don't have like 10 bikes they have to do the rest of the day. Hint the discount on tune-ups. So that being said, better quality tune-ups, a little bit better pricing. Definitely give them a little bit of compensation, a bag of coffee or whatever, floats some boat as a tip, because they still don't make a lot of money at all. And there's an opportunity there. As bike shops, that's what they're leveraging of doing those. I'm still booked out, so I don't have to discount it. I would highly recommend bike shops looking into appointment-based systems for definitely the off season, so they can really get pre-booking. And you give discounts to like I saw one shop, they were doing maybe videos and they just dropped off. Anyway, they did all used and did a lot of service. Maybe they're just so busy. Hopefully they're so busy and can't do videos. But they had like a club membership pricing kind of thing. You buy into the club and you get the discounted tune-ups and get in front of the line and that kind of thing. Whatever is going to work with your community and your bike shop life, and hopefully shops in your neck of the woods if you're looking to have that service done. Ask a couple fielding questions, and I'm sure you might be able to find somebody that'll be doing an upstanding, stellar job with your bikes, and get you ready for the season. Or if you want to venture into a new to you used titanium, I swear, I saw like 5 or 6 titanium bikes that are under $1,000, which are really decent. I mean, yeah, it may not have the right componentry that you may want or what have you, but come on. A titanium bike from either brand names too, like Lightspeed. There was a couple of Moots out there, some older Seratas. I mean, there's there's a couple of, there was one Mongoose that was built by Lightspeed. Yeah, and it's like those are really, really kind of cool if you wanted to do something new and different and have like a build-up of a fun bike in the winter. It's a great time to do it. Get some parts, get the frame, get to your local bike shop or a guy like me and go, here, put this together and just fill in the gaps, whatever else needs to be, you can just bring it in, but you can get the majority of stuff and then get a fit on that. And then I think your next season experience will be really a lot of fun. And looking at new prices, how they just keep on going up, they're not going to come down. So here we are. In any case, that's my prediction of small guy in a bike shop. Well, actually, I'm not a small guy, but I'm a small shop with a big guy that needs to lose some weight. Prediction of 2026 because, yeah, it's going to be more of the same. And we will probably see one of the bigger brands either get liquidated or absorbed or go completely under. Nobody's safe as right now. I mean, nobody. I mean, you think Rad Sports would be strong because they've been selling e-bikes this whole time, but even big companies make dumb decisions and cause themselves a lot of pain, and they go down pretty quick. So we've seen a lot of that in Europe in the last couple of years with the European companies and so forth. Here in the States, warehouses are being shut down or streamlining for supply chains. It's just expect change. There's going to be change, and probably not for the best, but it's really going to streamline a lot of the products. And as I would think, with hopefully somebody from these bigger brands are listening in to their customers and going, hey, maybe we do need to make an entry-level gravel bike or a road bike. Entry-level mountain bikes. And maybe we need to make those as lost leaders to cultivate that next generation of cyclists because they basically eroded that and are relying on Walmart and Target to pick up that field. And they're more than happy to do so by taking people's money, but they're not providing the follow-up service and the experience and community that people are going to want after they do that purchase. So here we are. It's interesting, and it's always, now that's nothing new, but it would be nice to see if they would actually be a little attentive. But the thing is, though, you have other companies like Poseidon. They're sneaking right in. They're building a bike that's under $1,000 or around $1,000. It's a full gravel bike, not bad componentry, pretty decent. Worked on a couple on the last MS 150 last summer. Well, it's not 150, it's bike MS. And there's, they're chunky, they're heavy, but they do their job, right? They're not too bad. Even the Ozark Trails from Walmart was actually, I saw a couple of those. Those are really, they're a tank, and they'll give you some exercise. But once they're adjusted correctly, they're not bad, and they're not horrible. It's that kind of thing. Any case. Oh, Precision E-Bike, joining in at the tail end here. Hey, Josh, hoping you're enjoying your time off. Oh, sorry. Choking my own spit. You're right, Johnny. It's like Johnny Bike Guy at SLC. Yeah. It's like, I mean, I get it to some level, those corporate boardrooms, and they're sitting there like, there's always that one individual like, hey, maybe we could make a bike that's cheaper for people. And, they're the first one on the layoff list. So I don't think it really resonates, unfortunately. Or even tying the used. And this is something I mean, they were so close. They were so close to doing it. And they're just squandering over it because they're just trying to sell their $10,000 to $15,000 bikes or $20,000 bikes from Specialized. They're so close of doing something really cool. And Trek was really close to, they can. If they just change some gears in their thought process and stop being dumb about certain things, they can actually do a really cool thing. And I almost don't want to say this, because if it did, it probably would work really well. But I mean, I was a Trek dealer back in Parker Bikes days. I've, Trek reps. Some of them are our best friends. I mean, John Bradley is our family best friend for decades, and he worked for Trek at the time and what have you. But they have the Red Barn. They did the Red Barn refresh. Red Barn is the barn where they built the original Treks back in the 70s. A little history there. And they did the Red Barn refresh. And they rolled this out of basically just getting rid of their demo bikes and high-end stuff that just be, one-offs. And yes, it is a kind of a pain in the butt for a company to do this. Absolutely. But it could generate more income? Sure. Jobs? Absolutely. Cultivating a future in their cycling communities? Yes. All they have to do is shift gears. How do they shift those gears? This is a pretty simple KISS, keep it simple, stupid. The Red Barn refresh, right? You go to your Trek store, you got some bikes, you don't use them anymore. You don't, you do a trade-in to get yourself a new bike or store credit or whatever. This is not a new thing, right? But corporate stores usually don't like to do this. But if they had a process of doing that, giving you a decent amount, nice little blue book value on the bikes, they ship those bikes to their Red Barn refresh, and whatever brands that they don't want to have there, which is everything not Trek, but everything that was Trek, the Le Mans, the Kleins, the Gary Fishers, the older stuff, just go all in. Have those on their website to sell direct to consumer at a pretty decent discount, or ship them to the bikes stores or locations and have them, mirror up to their bike line. And therefore, you would provide a customer that either looking for an entry-level refreshed bike that doesn't want to spend over a grand, either online or walk into their stores, will get that bike. And then once they get in that bike, they're going to want, at some point, another new bike, which if they had a good experience with that used Trek, they're most likely going to buy a new Trek. So therefore, they don't have to do the whole entry-level thing. They can just refurbish the stuff they've been building for the last 20 years. Simple. Will they do it? No. They basically used Red Barn to figure out how to do the process to sell to direct-to-consumer, and they pretty much shelved that, and now they're just selling the new direct-to-consumer. Saying a little kickback to the local store in your area, they don't see it on the accessories or anything. They may even see barely on the actual sales, and it's nothing really doesn't keep the lights on for the bike shops. Let's put it that way. So there's a lot of opportunities for those big corporations to leverage that and provide entry-level bikes and getting people excited about cycling and being part of that. But, that puts it opportunity for the rest of us independent bike dealers to take advantage of that, because they are not doing that, big or small. William Sprocket, for example, I talked about Noel before, super small guy, smart guy, not small, smart. Not to say that he's big either. That came out wrong. In any case, super nice guy. And I've had a couple conversations over the summer about used and how they're leveraging it. And it's like a gold mine now for them. And they've really leveraged it. And it's probably helped them, their bottom line, quite a bit. So big that last March, they had talks on how to leverage the used market and for bike shops. And it's, somewhere that really helps people out. Okay, is that really eroding people buying used bikes? Not really. You know, it's like they're looking for somebody like me or a shop to provide a gone through used bike ready to go for them so they don't have to deal with it, get on it and go. And maybe get a little fitting on it, an actual fitting, and have the best experience possible out of the gate. That's the business model that I started 5 years ago with. That's it. That is definitely a winning solution for however they want to put it into their playbook for a lot of these shops. So that's what they need to be thinking about. That's what they should be probably leveraging going into 2026. And that might be actually either make them be able to sustain and be profitable and actually hire people going into the year versus trying not to go out of business. So pick your battle, right? And, you know, it's I proved it. You know, my micro little level here, I proved it. It's proven. You can make 40 to 60% margin on the used market if you leverage it correctly. Pretty easy for your shops to do that. And some of you watching or knowing are like, yep, doing it, been doing it, done. Stop telling people. Oh, all right. Oh, thank you, Josh, for chiming in on about the range of the battery, because I have no clue. I mean, I was assuming based off of my vehicles, but yeah, about half is about right. That does make sense. Losing about half of the power, especially cold days, like your single digits. All right. Yeah. Hope you're enjoying you're back in the shop now, Josh. Yeah. So are you still planning to relocate to that location, or are you thinking about it still? If not, you let me know via emails or whatever. Scott, thank you for joining in. Hope you had a good holidays and hope you're out there riding when it's warmer. Oh yeah, Justin's gone live on Fridays. Well, it's Friday, Freak Out Friday. I mean, I figured I'd do a little shorter sit down and kind of a recap of the week and, be a little entertaining. I would be working on something, but my butt is frozen to the stool right now, so the little space heater hasn't warmed up the garage enough yet to start being mobile. I'm basically buying time until my next meetings that I have coming up, but in any case. But thanks for chiming in, Scott. I hope you're enjoying your Appalachian light speed. It's kind of fun to work on that one. Oh, you raised 2 kids on that business model? Yeah. I mean, it could be lucrative. I do too much YouTube to make that part as lucrative as it should be. But it does pay the bills. Like, it's nice when I sell a frame and a pair of shifters here and there, and it does, help. And then I have the service that kind of keeps the rest of the lights on. And for the whole YouTube and the brand deal and all that, that's basically putting the effort in now. So it will hopefully pay off a little bit more later. I'm not nearly close to being like Bike Farmer and be able to just shut my store down and just do videos. Not even close. But he's 10x ahead of me. He got really lucky, and he's doing great. I mean, and that forges a direction that, I don't need to be there today or tomorrow, but I want to develop partnerships, which, vital chains, Bill of Vital Chains, Vital Bike Chains for waxing chains is one, and Bicycle Wheel Warehouse is another, and, those kind of partnerships. You're not going to be just like, pay me a check and you get a return on something and then we don't talk again. It's going to be like, oh, we're going to enjoy this journey together and kind of work with each other, and hopefully we get successes that will help both businesses out through what I do and what they do. I'm more than happy to highlight that kind of thing. So in any case. Oh yeah, the gravel bike usually is the winter bike for me too, Scott. That's what, when my customer was here earlier was talking about a little cold and doesn't like riding on icy. When they have like a freeze over, when melt and it freezes, I definitely take the gravel bike for just a little, safer. I'm not going to say safe. It's just safe-ish than the road bike. You can still fall just as fast and hard, and actually harder because the ground is like frozen. But other than that, that's what it is. And maybe I need to get a little bit of, I mean, I do have, I wouldn't say it's a fat tire bike-ish, but it's more of a fatter, it's a 27 with a couple inches for pavement use. It's kind of fun. Oh, Johnny, yeah, you're just doing tune-ups? Yeah. But, you know, it's opportunity to branch out. Or if you get some of those used parts. Like right now, I'll tell you, Johnny, I'm in the same situation about 2 years ago. I had like bins full of like good used parts. But I'm like, there's no more room in the bin. So I'm like, then I just started cleaning stuff up and just throw them on eBay just to make it go away, really. But it actually came out to be a pretty good chunk of change. You know, so that's part of the mix. Like every month, I'm like going through those and just kind of, oh, that does not need to be here. That needs to be on somebody else's bike or in somebody else's garage. That kind of thing. So yeah. Absolutely. But in any case, hey, we're at the top, well, past the top of the hour. I got to get ready for new meeting. And yeah, not a plug or anything, but it's a cute little light. I'll feature this on Shop Talk Tuesday. I'll have it set up here and see if there's little lights or something. I think there's a plug-in on it, or maybe it's just a cute little building. It's like a little bike shop, Christmas ornament kind of deal. Very nice. I think my daughter pointed it out and made her mom, which is my wife, her to buy it. What is that? Oh, it's a little, anyway. Cool. Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Hopefully we'll be able to do this next Friday, but I will be in a different, if everything works out correctly, I will be in a different state. We're taking my daughter on a trip for her 10th birthday. This is her golden birthday. She's turning 10 and her birthday's on the 10th, so we're going to go out of town. And I'll leave it at that. It's definitely not in Colorado, so it'll be somewhere on the East Coast, but not warm. But somewhere with a lot of lights and a massive amount of population. And there's something about a square. So those are your hints. Throw in the comments below if you think where I'm going to be next week. I will try. I would like to find a little shop and pop my head in if they have any there. Where it is, it's concrete jungle for sure, and see if I can just talk to somebody that's like me but there. Anyways, thanks for hanging out with me. Hope it's nicer in your neck of the woods. Go for a ride, and if you like content like this, please like and subscribe. And until next week, hope you have a wonderful day. Again, from the garage. Whew, it's not warming up in here. Man, maybe get more heaters or something. Or maybe I just need to go inside. Hey, guys. Thanks, guys. Enjoy your weekend. Oh, okay. Sat down too long. Need to move around. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I got parts to clean. That's what I need to do.